Okay, we are still in Clerkenwell, and behind me we've got a magnificent building, and it is now luxury flats. It will cost an arm and a leg to live there, but the building has a very interesting history. In 1840 it was established as a prison, the Clerkenwell House of Detention, and it was built on a former prison which needed, it fell into disrepair and it needed rebuilding again. But coincidentally, that date was the date that a young man in Ireland was born. He was called Michael Barrett, and he was the last man to be publicly executed in England. How did it happen? Well, it all happened because just here there were some Irish prisoners, Fenians, the Irish from the Irish Brotherhood, and they wanted to break out. So this was the early days of explosives, and some explosives were set here, and they wanted to knock the wall down and free the prisoners inside. Unfortunately, they overestimated the explosives they would need, and not only was the wall knocked down, but several houses over here were knocked down. 12 people lost their lives, and a phenomenal number, nearly 100 people, were actually very seriously injured. And the tide of public opinion swung away from the Irish. They became the pariahs of the age, and justice had to be seen to be done. So Michael Barrett, he was a young man at the time, and he had moved from Fermanagh in Ireland, and he was living in Glasgow. And Michael, as he grew up during the famine, and he actually joined the Irish Brotherhood himself, and he was living in Glasgow. But he wasn't here in London when the bombing took place. But as I said, justice had to be seen to be done. So he was arrested and he was put on trial. And there was a Dubliner, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head, and he perjured himself for some money and some wealth and so forth, and he perjured himself, and he said that Michael Barrett had confessed to this crime and said that he had set the explosives here. Michael, on the other hand, he pleaded his innocence, and he produced witnesses to say that he was actually in Glasgow at the time. But the country was up in arms, and they really wanted to exact some revenge. So in 1868 he was taken out of Newgate prison and publicly hung. Now, he had conducted himself very well in court, and there were actually some members of Parliament who were on his side. And in fact, his mother in Fermanagh approached her own MP and pleaded for mercy for her son. But the MP in question was a staunch Irishman and was having none of it. So Michael was taken out. Now, if you go on YouTube, you will find the Ballad of Michael Barrett by the Wolf Tones. And the ballad is longer than Bohemian Rhapsody. The whole story is told there and then. And it says that some good Irishmen were there to witness his execution, to show him that he wasn't alone and people were with him. But actually, there was a shameful instance there, because thousands of people came out to witness the execution, and they were all jeering and taunting him and singing "Rule Britannia." And it just goes to show that, as Malcolm X famously said, the media can make you feel that the oppressed are the villains of the piece, and that the oppressors are the innocent ones. And actually, I played the song this morning, and I didn't go to switch it off, and then automatically came up another ballad, the Ballad of Roger Casement. So the British they executed a lot of rebels, and it gave Irish rebel musicians material to write and sing songs, and they're still singing these songs today. Michael is buried actually in the City of London cemetery, and may he rest in peace. It really saddens me because the man was completely innocent, and of course he was killed by the establishment. So that was the cause of it here. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now I found myself in St. James's Church here in Clerkenwell. Fascinating church, but one of the things that what really amuses me about this church is this feature that we have on the staircase, this black board that goes all the way up the stairs. And I've only known of these in 2 buildings in London. One is here at St. James's Church, and the other one is in St. Bartholomew's in Soho. And this is a modesty board, so that when the Victorian ladies in their wide skirts would go up the stairs, because it's such a high, somebody could inadvertently look up and see some underwear, but you won't be able to see it with this wonderful modesty board is there. So there you go, a little bit of quirky London for you. Hello, we are now opposite St. James's Church, and the parishioners on a Sunday will leave and come over here for a few pints. And now the pub is named the Three Kings, after the most famous kings in the whole world. And what we want you to do is guess the names of these kings. You've got 10 seconds, and then you'll be given the answer.